Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. I had an insane amount of feedback on my last video. That was pretty crazy. I got like 3,000 and change views, which is pretty good for my channel. That's the best long form video I've posted so far. So appreciate everybody that watched that. Also got a crazy amount of comments. I guess I had like 150 comments or something. So that's really cool. That video topic really resonated with a lot of people. If you didn't watch it, I would say check it out. It was me more so talking about like the vulnerable, in-depth part of wholesaling real estate and like the mindset going into it, and just kind of talking about like my honest opinions of wholesaling and you know, a lot of people flexing when they're not doing deals and just like stuff like that, fun stuff like that. But that was a good video. I think it came out pretty good. A lot of people reached out to me, one saying it helped them, but two asking me like what I'm doing now, am I quitting wholesaling, like what's going on? And that's what I want to kind of talk about in this video, why you should wholesale real estate this year. Even though wholesaling is tougher now, even though it's harder to find good sellers, good buyers, maybe compared to 2020, maybe compared to 2021, it may be more difficult to do things, maybe more difficult to close as many deals. I know a lot of people are struggling, as I talked about in the last video. And let me preface this by saying, like, I'm still doing, you know, consistent deals. I have a few deals under contract already, and we're like a month into the year. So like, I'm still doing, you know, 2-3 deals a month. But here's the thing, I would rather be wholesaling real estate and struggling with my business. You know, what does that mean? Maybe one deal every month or one deal every other month. I would rather be doing that than working a W-2. I genuinely would rather be doing that. So that's why I think that there still is a huge opportunity for wholesalers. A lot of people, as I said in the last video, are leaving the space. I know so many people leaving the space for education, for all this stuff. If you are getting into that, that's fine. If you are getting into wholesaling, just be careful who you pay for education. A lot of people promise big things, but they don't do it. So just be careful you pay. I paid bad mentors in my experience, and it is what it is, you know, just be careful. And that's just because of time freedom. You know, like yesterday, for example, I have my own apartment in Fort Lauderdale. My mom lives in Coral Springs. I drove home to Coral Springs, you know, and saw her for a few hours. And if I was working a 9 to 5, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Sometimes I go and get lunch with my grandma in Delray. If I was working a 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to do that. In my apartment, like I have a pool, like I'll just work out by the pool. If I was working at 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? So there's just a lot of freedom that you get with wholesaling, especially wholesaling full time, that you don't get with a W-2. So that's why I think that you should still wholesale. And I think that with a lot of people leaving the industry, there's gonna be a lot more opportunities. A guy in Miami that had a huge operation and he just shut down his entire business. And it's just like, okay, now let's say he was doing 100 deals, now there's like 100 more deals, right? It's like in football, when a wide receiver leaves a team, right? Then they're like, okay, now there's 150, 200 vacated targets. Like, who are those targets gonna go to? It's the same concept with contracts. Like, who are those new contracts gonna go to? And that's a very like specific example, but like, I think it makes sense. I just thought of that at the top of my head. That was a good example, low key. That was a good example, low-key. This is the trend. It's, you know, maybe on market. You just got to adapt. You know, whatever was working before, maybe not be working now, and just, you know, figuring it out. Another option is working for another wholesaler, right? And learning the business through them. Another reason I think wholesaling is good is there's still an uncapped earning potential. You can earn as much money as you want. It's the same thing as any sales job where whatever you put in, you get out. I think there's a clearer path to making 6 figures wholesaling real estate than there is with a W-2, right? Because think about it, how do you make 6 figures with a W-2? Okay, well, you could work a trade and maybe make 6 figures, but you know, maybe it takes years to learn the trade and years to build clientele, or if you're working, I don't know, I don't work trades like that. How do you work 6 figures at a normal job? You have to get a college degree, right? 4 years college degree. And even then, like, you're not locked into a job that's making 6 figures. You know what I mean? Like when I was working at W-2 before I started wholesaling, I was making 30, 40,000. I have friends in marketing and all these businesses, hospitality, making 50, 60. I have friends that make a lot of money and they're making 70, 80. I've made over 6 figures in each year I've been wholesaling. So I think there's a more direct path to making a lot of money wholesaling. Even though it's tougher, I still think like the path to getting there is clearer to me than it is with a W-2. So that's why I would say, like, if I have to choose, I would still rather wholesale real estate than work a W-2. That's what I wanted to talk about. So that's why you should wholesale real estate this year. If you are wholesaling, good luck. If you have any deals, send them over to me. I do a lot of JVs. I've helped a handful of people do their first deals, so I'm more than happy to help. I don't have any mentorships, coaching. I don't have anything like that. I just kind of make content for fun. So yeah, let's connect.